Welcome to the first video in a new series that I'm starting for this channel. The series is called The Goddess Interviews, and I'm going to be interviewing healers in my community and elsewhere who are actively on their own spiritual path and who are involved in healing work of various types. I'm really excited that the first healer that I'm going to be interviewing for this series is Liz Jason. She is an amazing, gifted healer and yoga teacher, and she is also my spirit mom. She is the woman who really took me under her wings as I was experiencing my own transformation in my life and as I started my journey with Reiki and tarot, and she has been the most loving, warm, comforting, encouraging influence in my life, and she is the most positive female influence in my life as well. And so I am very honored that we're going to be able to talk with her today. We're going to be asking her some questions and then just see where the conversation takes us. She is the owner of Kindred Spirits Yoga Studio in Wakefield, New Hampshire. She is also a Reiki master teacher as well as a yoga teacher, and she specializes her healing work with women, especially women who are at a crossroads in their lives, looking to break addictions, negative relationships, or bad energy or spaces that they found themselves in their lives. And she facilitates that through healing, yoga, meditation, journal work, and her own spiritual form of ritual in a group situation as well. I'm also excited because she is participating in the Healing Moon Women's Circle, which will be at the Kindred Spirits Yoga Studio on February 2nd. She is going to be leading us through the new moon aspect of that healing circle. So the interview will begin in just a few minutes. So as I mentioned in the interview, Liz is a yoga teacher as well as a Reiki master teacher practitioner. And we're going to be talking to her today a little bit about her journey and how she found Reiki and yoga and how she incorporates those modalities into her spiritual practice and also her practice as a healer. So this is the first interview in the series, so I'm a little nervous. And Liz is too, so please bear with us. I have some questions written down, so I will be consulting my notes as we start talking.
Okay.
All right, so the first question for you, Liz, is how did you find your current spiritual path?
It's been a long struggle. It's been a lifetime of experience and many, many years of trying to fit into somebody else's mold. And then I was seriously ill, and that's when I began to realize that I needed to find my own path. And so now I work on it every day. It's not always perfect, but it's my path.
It's your path.
Yes.
So it's really one of the reasons why I really wanted to interview Liz was to show us as women especially, but also for you male viewers out there, that we don't have to do this when we're young. We can come to our own path and our own strength at any point in time.
Right. I used to, when I first started learning, I would say to myself, oh, why didn't I know this when I was 20? Why did, my life would have been so different. Well, my life is the way it's supposed to be. And I found my path when I was supposed to find it. Other people find it in their youth. I didn't really come to terms with things until a while after I had gone through menopause. So I feel like everybody has their own path, and it's when we try to compare to others that we stumble and fall again.
Right.
So be true to yourself.
Good advice, Liz. And also, this is a side question, but kind of off of that too, is that you've taken your time as well. You didn't try to rush it, which is another wonderful thing to know too.
Right. At first I was so hesitant about learning so many new things, and I was afraid, and I was, my ego played such a big part in so much of it, because I would say, well, so-and-so has that gift, but I don't. And, oh, they can do it, but I can't. And I just had to stop myself and take the little bits of knowledge that I learned and just let them sink into my soul. So I just struggle like everybody else, and I find that going slowly works best for me.
Right. Right. So it's encouraging for us to know that taking our time is not a bad thing.
No, I think it's what we're supposed to do.
Okay. So that being said, now that we know a little bit about what led you to your path now, your current path, what brought you to Reiki? What interested you in Reiki?
Well, I think first that I learned about yoga.
Okay. Oh, so let's ask that first then. What led you to yoga then?
Right. I had a serious illness about the time that my dad passed away. I entered menopause. A lot of little things in my life kind of fell apart. My kids were moving out, moving in, moving out. And I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't have a place. I didn't know what to do. And I got seriously ill. I struggled with depression, which I had never had. I'd had anxiety in the past, but never depression. And I just couldn't move. And I sought medical treatment, which didn't work for me. And I realized that if I was going to get well, that I needed to do it myself. And one day I was driving through my small town and I saw a sign for yoga. And I signed up for the 6-week class, and I've been doing yoga ever since. Those first classes, I think, began to strengthen my body. So I started to feel physically better. And then it opened my mind, and I started to hear the things that my teacher was trying to tell me. So I little by little, inch by inch, I learned. I opened up my mind, and I wanted to learn more. And then I heard about Reiki.
Okay. So what made you think that Reiki was something that you wanted to explore?
I wasn't sure about it at first because I knew it was from the devil's workshop. So I was a little scared about that. And so I wanted to take the class just to find out what it even was. And I met some wonderful people, yourself included, and we began to practice Reiki together. And I realized that it was just such a powerful tool to have in your medicine bag. And I wanted to learn more. So I took Reiki 2, Reiki 3, and then I became a Reiki master teacher. So it was a long journey, about a year long, and I enjoyed it. It was a struggle, but I'm enjoying it more now that I'm allowing myself to enjoy it.
Right, and really explore it.
And explore and see how it can help other people.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. What else did I write down? So I know we talked a little bit with yoga and Reiki that you were finding the inner strength through that process. But for you as a person yourself, how did you how did you discover that inner strength that you have within?
Well, I think when I initially had my little breakdown, as I like to call it, I started to drink wine heavily, and I was drinking alone, and I was self-medicating, and I realized after a while that that wasn't really what I wanted to do with my life, and I wasn't feeling well, and it wasn't helping my depression. And one day, I don't know why, I don't know, but something came over me and said, you need to go to AA. And I did, and it was the scariest thing I ever did. And I did that journey for about a year. I did what's called an AWOL, and I learned a lot about how alcohol affects people in different ways. I learned a lot about myself as a young woman, why I used alcohol to self-medicate. And so through that process, I realized that I did have strength, and I don't drink at all anymore. I haven't for many years. But I realized that, okay, that was my first step. If I can do that, well, then I can do something else. And so it's, again, a slow process of building upon baby steps.
Okay.
So
that's really beautiful. So as you were discovering your inner strength and following the journey through that process and then yoga and Reiki, when did you start learning to trust your intuition? Because I talk a lot about on the channel with everyone about learning to trust your intuition and to listen to it. So for you, how did you learn to trust that inner voice that you were starting to hear clearly?
I think it began with hearing the voice that said go to AA and doing it, and it led to a positive result. And then I just started to listen to how my body felt, how my mind felt, and I stopped trying to fit into other people's descriptions of who I am. I am not who anybody thinks I am. I'm just me.
Just you.
And I try to listen to that little voice every day. Am I perfect at it? No. Not by any means. And there are many times that I should have listened to my gut or to my intuition, and I don't. But I'm becoming more and more aware. For instance, this is a silly little thing, but the other day I was having lunch with some friends. They were talking about facials, and out of the clear blue sky, I said, "Oh, I use this certain product on my face, and I love it." And they're like, "Okay." I went back to my office, and on my desk was a tube of that certain cream, and I thought, how many times have things like that happened that I've drawn into my life but yet ignored?
Right.
So now I'm starting to open my mind to be aware of these little miracles and see what's out there for me. It's not all bad.
Right, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
So
good. Okay. So again, so it's a slow process to listen to the intuition.
For me, it's a slow process.
Right. And I know for us through our Reiki trainings too, we realize that each person intuits differently.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're having trouble finding your intuition or understanding what it is, and you watch other people and you feel like, I could never do that, I don't have that, so I must not have any intuition, that's not true. It's like we were just saying, it's really about just listening quietly and slowly to that voice, and then it gets louder.
Right.
In the way that's unique for you.
Right.
So, you might hear something, Liz might see something, I might feel something. We're still intuiting, it's just in our own unique way.
Right. And it's all different for everyone.
Right. So don't compare. Right, don't compare. Don't get into that space with it. Just enjoy the process, like Liz was saying, with finding the face cream. Just have fun with it. The more that you relax and explore, the easier it comes.
Right. Yeah. And the more it brings joy to your life.
Yeah. Right, it makes it fun. Okay, so how are you following your bliss now? So you've been on this journey, and like you said, you've gotten all of these tools for your medicine bag now.
Right.
So what's the next step for you?
Well, I currently am teaching just one class a week in my yoga studio. I have a little studio off the side of my house. It's tiny and I love it, and I have all my books out here, and if somebody wants to come over and play yoga with me, they're more than welcome. So I'm just listening to my guides, okay, do yoga. So I'm enjoying that in my space. I have friends that we get together and do Reiki on each other, and that's a joyful time for us. So I'm just letting these things happen. I'm not trying to prepare or plan or push. I'm just allowing it to happen. So I do a little bit of yoga with different teachers. I read a lot. Probably I read too much. Time to put the books down.
Okay, so since you said that, what are you currently reading? Because I did have that down, just as a fun thing for you to know in case you haven't read some of these books.
I'm reading E Squared, which is a really fun little book to read.
We're both enjoying that.
Yes, very much. I'm reading Brene Brown's new book about imperfection, and I love it. It's like the story of my journey. So I'm having a hard time putting that down. And I love to read magazines, although all I do is look at the pictures. I cut them out and put them in my little book of how I'm going to decorate my house someday. That's my real joy. I love it.
That's perfect. So if anyone is hearing this and just starting on their own journey, were there any books, like when you were starting, that were helpful for you that you could recommend?
I definitely would read the Four Agreements.
Okay.
It's just a little tiny book, little guide.
Yeah, it's not a big.
It's not hard. I enjoyed that so much, and the simplicity of it is a good kickstart. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
So that's a good one.
I think so. I mean, there's so many. I love Deepak Chopra's The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success. These little books have a lot of information, and you can read them, take what you want, leave the rest.
Right. And I think that's what's nice about them is that it adapts to whatever you're called to follow, and it lets you like be free after that. It's not like a religion of you have to do this, you have to do that.
Another really good book, and one that I refer to often, is The Way of the Happy Woman by Sarah Avant Stover. I've been to several of her workshops, and it's just a wonderful book, full of guidance. I love it.
Okay,
so those are three little books.
That's a good jumping off point for you if you're looking for some encouraging reads for you right now as you start your journey. Let's see. So last question, since we talked, I think we've covered pretty much everything. What classes are you currently offering in case anyone's interested?
Sure. Currently, I have a Friday morning yoga class at 9:30 here at my studio. I also am interested in beginning a yoga class for people with addictions. It would be a combination of yoga, spiritual guidance, meditation, and journaling. So if anyone's interested, they can contact me. I would love to do a class.
Wonderful. And if any of you are and you're not anywhere near here, we can also figure out how to arrange that so that we could do it remotely. So we could have an online group too. So if anyone's interested in that, just message me, and we'll talk about getting that together. So if someone would like to have a long distance Reiki treatment with you, or maybe a counseling session or something like that, how can they get in touch with you? What's the best way to contact you?
Probably the best way would be my email. It's kinspirit_2000@yahoo.com.
Okay, so that's nice and easy if you are interested. And if we didn't cover any questions that you guys have, just leave me a message underneath or come find me on my Facebook page at Ardis Owl Moon and leave us some more questions, and Liz and I can get together and talk some more, definitely. And if you are interested, Liz is part of the Elemental Healing New Hampshire page on Facebook too, so you can check that out. It's Elemental Healing New Hampshire NH, not spelled out. So you can check that out too. And I'll be posting this interview on that page as well, so everyone can check this out. Anything else that you want to add or share with us?
I think we've covered most of it. We are having our healing.
Oh, that's right. The Healing Moon.
Healing Moon Women's Circle on February 2nd. We're very excited
about that.
So come join us.
And if we're able to get everything going smoothly with this one, we definitely will be recording it so everyone can participate online too. We've got to get everything worked out with the first one, I think. But after that, we'll definitely be recording it for you guys too. I just want to make sure before we end. That's everything.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining us for the Goddess Interview series. And again, if you want to get in touch with Liz, I will leave the link for her email below in the information box as well.
Great.
Thank you so much for letting us interview Liz.
Thanks.
I love Liz.
I love Racy.
My spirit mom.
My daughter.
Yes. Anyhow, thank you very much for joining us. And, everything will be below for you to get in touch with us. And many blessings, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Thank you.